This man murdered his own son in a fit of rage. I'm not done yet, babe. This man unleashed a secret police force that terrorized his own people. It's not done yet, babe. And finally, this man became Russia's first Tsar. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Ivan the Terrible. Come say hi, Ivan. Don't be shy now, babe. Come on. Now, Ivan the Terrible is one of history's most feared and unpredictable rulers. His life was filled with tragedy, paranoia, brutality, and murder. But with all that said, was he truly a monster? Or was he just a product of his childhood? Stick around, let's find out. Hi there, welcome. My name is Nikita, and every week I talk about history while I do my makeup. So if you enjoy history and or makeup, I suggest you like, comment, and subscribe because I post videos every week. I've been fighting with a fly for like 15 minutes, trying to kill it, and it doesn't want to die. So if you see it, her, him flying around, just ignore it. Before Ivan became one of the most feared rulers in history, he was just a child, a lonely, neglected, and abused boy that lost both of his parents at such a young age. Honestly, I believe his childhood wasn't just tragic. I honestly believe that it was a crucial factor in shaping him into the violent and paranoid man he would later become. Ivan was born on August 25th in the year 1530. He was the son of Grand Prince Vasily III of Moscow and his second wife, Elena Glinskaya. A little fun fact, Ivan's birth was seen as somewhat of a miracle because his father had struggled for years to have a male heir. So him just being born was amazing. Okay, so here's where the tragedy starts, okay? When Ivan was just 3 years old, in the year 1533, his father, Vasily, just died out of nowhere from an infection. Suspicious? I say yes. Before Ivan's father died, he went ahead and named Ivan as his successor, or as his heir, you know? Same thing. But there was a problem, a big problem. Ivan, at that time, was only 3 years old. He was a kid, a baby. He can't rule. He can't rule a country, much less rule Russia. So instead of Ivan ruling, since he was too young, his mother, Elena Glinskaya, took power as the regent. But unfortunately, ruling as a female regent in medieval Russia was a bad idea. Or more like dangerous, you know? It's not something you do. And of course, you know, she faced so much resistance from the boyars. It's kind of like the nobles of Russia. And the reason she faced so much resistance from them is because they wanted to control her son, Ivan, and also the throne. So basically, they wanted to take control of the country. Well, his mother, Elena, ruled as a regent for 5 years. And then in 1538, she suddenly died. Suspicious. Anyone? I think it's someone. Murder? I don't know. You know what I think? I think they killed her. Well, not murdered her, but maybe poison. I'm thinking poison, babe. I think they poisoned her, unfortunately. 5 years. 5 years is a lot of time. After her death, the kingdom was left in kind of like chaos, honestly. The boyars, they seized control of everything. They took over everything. And unfortunately, with both of his parents gone, he literally had no one to protect him, no one to stand up for him, no one to be there for him, at all. He was left at the mercy of the nobles, the boyars. And let me tell you something, baby. Those families, ruthless, cruel, okay? They did not care about you. I'm using this color, okay? Yeah. I think it's a fun color. I'm gonna go ahead and use it. The Boyer families saw him as nothing more than a puppet. They did not care about Ivan at all. I mean, imagine this poor boy. He lost his father, he lost his mother, he's on his own, and he's surrounded by wolves. He's surrounded by demons. When you realize how he grew up, it's like you kind of want to feel bad for him, but at the same time, you don't. I don't know. I'm not gonna say he was a victim, but it's because he definitely did some horrible things, but at the same time, it's just like, damn, that childhood was tough. From the age of 8 years old going forward, Ivan lived in fear, in constant fear. I mean, he was technically the Grand Prince of Russia. He was supposed to rule Russia, but in reality, he was a nobody. He had no power. He had no say in any matter. He was just there. The boyars, the nobles, they controlled every single thing, and they treated him with so much cruelty. I mean, it's unbelievable. And if you think I'm exaggerating about them being cruel, I'm not, okay? During his time with the boyars, Ivan was starved, humiliated, and ignored. If he even got to eat anything at all, it was stolen by servants. Like, the servants had to steal food so that he would get to eat. Think about it. If it was one day where the servants weren't able to steal food, he would not eat that day. I mean, these people were trying to starve him to death. Okay? He was also forced to wear old, tattered, and dirty clothes. Like, I mean, he was not being taken care of at all. Apart from that, I mean, the poor little boy witnessed violence and betrayal constantly. Constantly. The boyars would constantly fight amongst each other for power and control over the government. And during that time, multiple executions, assassinations, just so much betrayal and death was happening around him. And little Ivan was watching all of this and he was just like, oh my God, like, what is going on? I feel like he was just processing all of that negativity and all that just bad stuff, and it just was shaping him into such a paranoid person. It is said that even some of Ivan's like loyal supporters, like anyone that was supporting him, they would be killed, executed, punished in such cruel ways, and he would have to sit there and watch that. Can you imagine? Ivan was psychologically tormented. The boyars would make sure of that every single day. They would either mock him, tell him that he's weak and worthless and useless, that he's just a puppet, he's not the real thing. I mean, they would say anything and everything to just bring his self-esteem and just destroy him physically and mentally. Honestly, I don't even understand how wicked people always thrive. Like, wicked people will always get their way. I don't know how. I think I'm gonna go right here, like with a darker shade, like maybe this one right here. Yeah, I think that would work. I don't, mind you, I have no idea what I'm doing, okay? Don't take notes from me. I just want to say this, okay? If you're not sympathizing with baby Ivan here because of all the horrible things that he did when he was older, I just want to say this. Imagine being born into power and being denied love, security, physical contact, just the bare minimum, or just like control over your own life. He was deprived of all of those things. He grew up only knowing fear, terror, and just like, you know, staying in the lane. That way nothing bad happens to you. I mean, it's so easy for a kid that has been in that environment to grow up being paranoid, to grow up being scared and just, how do I say this, suspecting everyone or just thinking that everyone's out to get them because that's the environment that they were brought up in. And mind you, both of his parents died, so he really had no one there to protect him. And the people that were loyal to him, that were there for him, he watched them get executed and killed and punished. His brutal childhood shaped his entire worldview. The way he saw the world and how he thought things worked. It made him believe that power and control were the only things that mattered, and that basically to survive, you would have to be the most ruthless of them all. And just like that, with that mentality, at 13 years old, Ivan took his first step towards revenge. He ordered the capture and the execution of Prince Andrei Shrisky, which was one of the most powerful boyars at that time. And not to mention, he was also one of the people who had tormented him for years. I think that specific moment was a turning point because it marked the birth of this vengeful, paranoid, and cruel person Ivan would become. At the age of 16, Ivan finally took control of the government. And he wasn't just gonna be another Grand Prince of Moscow. No, no, no. No, baby. Ivan had bigger, better plans. He crowned himself Tsar of all Russia. And he was the first ruler to ever take that name. And at first, everything seemed perfect. I mean, he seemed like the perfect ruler. He was great, amazing. Everybody loved Ivan. What's not to love? He reformed the government, created a standing army, strengthened Russia's borders, and even had time to marry a woman that he truly loved. And her name was Anastasia Romanovna. But listen, babe, you would think he was having, the perfect life and he was just doing so great for himself. But no. You know why? Because power does things to people. And for Ivan specifically, that power started becoming something truly terrifying. Give me a second. I have to do a cut crease and I can't do that while talking. How does that look? Can you see it? I think it looks pretty good, right? I think I like it. Is it looking like a cut crease? Yeah, I think I killed that. Anyways, back to the story. Ivan started his reign with a vision. He wanted to reform and modernize Russia. He really wanted to reduce the influence of the boyars in Russia. Remember the boyars? The wicked people that raised him? Yeah, them. He really wanted to reduce their influence on Russia. And can you blame him? Gosh, traumatized him. He might have had really good motives. They were horrible people. But at the same time, it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. I think I heard that somewhere. I don't know where. But yeah, right? So as I mentioned before, Ivan really wanted to reform and modernize Russia. And so he started with implementing some reforms, as one does. But the boyars, they did not like this. Okay, they were not having it at all. They did not like Ivan, but they were not having it with his reforms. Who does he think he is? Lord, he's trying to modernize us. They didn't like it, okay? So they decided, we're not gonna do this. No, I'm not doing this. They resisted every single move, every single plan, every single idea that Ivan came up with. There were the boyars girl, that ain't finna work. I ain't doing that. Every single time. And that led to a power struggle between Ivan and the boyars. And soon enough, that power struggle, it would become deadly. Mind you, this power struggle was going on and on for years. Until the year 1560, when Ivan's wife, Anastasia, died. And it was such a sudden death that Ivan was literally convinced that they poisoned his wife. And just that sent him into a downward spiral, okay? He was freaking losing it, baby. He was losing it. It was not looking good. And what did Ivan do? Well, what everyone does when they're paranoid. He created a group to protect himself. Grieve? No. Not Ivan. Not Ivan here, no. He went and created a group that would help him eliminate all his enemies. That's Ivan for you right there. The name of the group, you ask? They were called the Oprichnina. I hope I'm saying that right. Oprichnina. The Oprichnina obviously were ruled by Ivan and maybe some of his hand-picked enforcers. He was like, you know what, you can help me control the Oprichnina. You can help me control the Oprichnina. You don't get to help me. Type stuff. But mostly they were ruled by him. He was the one controlling them. So while I was doing research, it said that Ivan divided Russia into two groups. On one side, you had the Oprichnina, who was ruled by Ivan, and then on the other side, you had the Zemshchina, who was controlled by the boyars, but Ivan always kept a close eye on them. Ivan's group was called Oprichnina, and the people in the group were called Oprichniki, if I'm right, I don't know. The Oprichniki were Ivan's hand-selected enforcers. Sometimes they were chosen from lower-class nobles and personal loyalists. Just people that he either trusted or he liked. It was said that the Oprichniki dressed in all black, rode black horses, and carried a severed dog's head. So sorry about that. What is that called? Warning, animal cruelty, okay? But they carried a severed dog's head and a broomstick on their saddles. What was that about? So it was said that it signified their role as the sniffers, not the sniffers, but more of like they were the ones that sniffed out treason. Like you know how dogs be sniffing around? Yeah, that's what they were doing, and that's why they had a severed dog's head on their saddles. I'm pretty sure we would have understood without the dog's severed head, but okay. But long story short, that's basically what they were doing. They were the people that were sniffing out treason and sniffing out Ivan's enemies and swiping them away. Now, the Uperniki was, horrible. And when I mean horrible, I mean they carried out massive, brutal executions. They were kind of like purging Russia of the boyars, and sometimes they would even kill monks and also suspected traitors. They always used extreme violence to instill fear in people and also extorted and seized lands. One of the most brutal attacks was the massacre of Novgorod, which happened in 1570. Ivan, suspecting the whole city of disloyalty, he ordered the Operniki to enforce a brutal attack, which cost thousands of people's lives. Thousands of people lost their lives because of a suspected disloyalty or suspected treason. Ivan, the man who once wanted to strengthen, reform, modernize, and change Russia, became its biggest nightmare. By the year 1572, the Oprichnina had become too powerful and unpredictable. Unfortunately, their brutality had led to economic devastation and political instability. And so Ivan ended up disbanding the group. Did it really have to get to that point to where it's affecting the economy and the political stability of your country for you to be like, oh, never mind, maybe this wasn't a good idea, or like, this needs to go? Like, let me keep going. Unfortunately, Ivan disbanding the Oprichnina didn't end the group's influence. The whole thing about secret policing, surveillance, and political repression, all those things would unfortunately live on and end up influencing future Russian rulers, from the Romanovs to the Soviet NKVD. As Ivan consolidated power, he became even more paranoid. How much more paranoid do you want to get, bro? I'm sorry. Ivan was convinced that conspiracies and treachery, evil in general, was lurking everywhere around him. And because of that, his brutal and violent methods escalated. He became erratic. One thing Ivan was definitely famous for, which was very unfortunate, trust me, not something you want to be famous for or known for, was his violent outbursts. In our time, we call that crashing out. Thank you. Yeah. Historians say that Ivan could literally go from happy and smiling and charming to terrifying in a heartbeat. Was he bipolar? Is that what being bipolar is? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a girl. So listen up, babe. Let me tell you the tea. One of his most famous outbursts or crash out moments happened on November in the year 1581 in Alexandrova Sloboda, one of Ivan's many residences, right? By this time, people were saying that Ivan had become increasingly unstable and paranoid, okay? And at this specific time, Ivan was, obsessed with maintaining power, especially over his family. His son, Ivan Ivanovich, was a very strong and capable man, okay? He was great. Oh my gosh. He was a good military leader. He had led multiple campaigns against Russia's enemies, and he was widely seen as a promising future for the country. People liked him, but Ivan's paranoia extended all the way to his son. Ivan saw threats everywhere, including the people who were closest to him. And on this specific day, Ivan let his paranoia take it too far. Too far. So here's what happened, let me tell you. So one day, Ivan is pacing around, and he's just furious, okay? And you're wondering, what's going on? Why is he furious? What's going on with him? Let me tell you. Ivan is mad, furious, because of the way his daughter-in-law, the wife of his son, Ivan Ivanovich, her name was Yelena Sheremeteva. I hope I said that right. But anyways, that was her name. Ivan was furious about the way his son's wife was walking around dressed. Yeah, he was like, why is she dressed like that? Like, she can't dress like that in my house. Not in my house, you know? Like, oh my God, mind your business. He was accusing his daughter-in-law of wearing immodest clothing that wasn't appropriate for a noble woman to be wearing. What was she wearing? I have no idea. Okay, I couldn't even tell you if you asked me. But I'm guessing it really wasn't that bad and he was probably exaggerating, but who knows. And this would be something that would happen all the time, right? Like he would always complain about the way she was dressing. But one of those days, he went into a violent outburst and physically attacked her. Apart from the fact that he attacked her, she was pregnant. He attacked a pregnant woman. Unfortunately, Ivan beat his daughter-in-law so bad, so severely bad, that she ended up miscarrying the baby. And of course, when his son Ivan Ivanovich found out what his father did, he was outraged. I mean, fumes. Rightfully so. So Ivan Ivanovich, the son, went into his father's room, pissed off, and he confronted him. Ivanovich demanded his father to tell him why he had harmed his wife and cost him his unborn child. Like, why would you do that? What, like, he just wanted answers. Like, what is going on? And, Ivan responded saying, like, oh, she keeps dressing unmodestly and blah, blah, blah. And then the discussion or the argument switched to the military strategy that was being used for the Livonian War, which was a long and costly conflict between Poland and Sweden. Ivan, he wanted to withdraw the troops from Pskov because he feared an attack, but his son disagreed with him and he didn't want to do that. Withdrawing the troops would actually weaken Russia's position. And as always, the discussion escalated, with Ivan becoming increasingly enraged with his son's defiance. As the argument reached a breaking point, Ivan, in a fit of uncontrollable rage, grabbed his staff and hit his son across the head. Like, grabbed his stuff and went like boom and hit his son across the head. The impact was devastating. Ivan Ivanovich collapsed to the ground and he was bleeding profusely. Almost immediately, Ivan realized what he had done. Witnesses say that Ivan dropped the weapon and ran to his son and grabbed him and cradled him in his arms. And while he was cradling him in his arms, he was crying out in horror. For days, Ivan stayed at his son's bedside, crying, praying, and begging for his son's forgiveness. But unfortunately, the injury was just too severe. And on November 19th, in the year 1581, Ivan Ivanovich died. This specific event sent shockwaves throughout the court. I mean, people were shocked, people were scared. They were like, oh my God. It was all they could talk about for a long time. Now, to Ivan specifically, this event sent him into a deep spiral of madness and guilt. The death of his son completely shattered him, and I'm pretty sure that him knowing that his son was gone because of him, because of his violent outbursts and his rage, it was his fault. I don't even know what that could do to anyone. After that event, Ivan was never the same again. It was said that Ivan fell into a deep depression and he reportedly cried out in guilt and agony for days. It was also said that Ivan completely lost hope for Russia's future. And the reason behind that is because Ivanovich, his son, had been his most capable heir, and now that Ivanovich was gone, there was no hope for Russia, at least in Ivan's eyes. Of course, he had other sons, but his other son, Fyodor I, was actually physically weak and intellectually unfit to be a ruler. Some accounts say that Ivan became even more erratic and obsessed with religion. He believed that his sins had damned his soul. His health rapidly declined, and he became even more paranoid and reclusive. And eventually, Ivan died just 3 years later, in the year 1584. Ivan was 53 years old when he died, and some historians believe that his grief really played a big role in the decline of his health and his mental stability. When Ivan died, Russia was indeed left in a really weak position. His only surviving son, Fyodor, was crowned Tsar of all Russia. But unfortunately, like I mentioned before, he was mentally unstable and unfit to rule. This led to the Time of Troubles, a period of chaos, famine, and foreign invasion that almost destroyed Russia. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, you know the drill. I can't do my lips, whatever, on camera. So sorry, but I'm back. So after Ivan died, his son Fyodor, they tried to make him the Tsar, but he was mentally unstable and he just couldn't do it. And it caused this horrible time in Russia called the Time of Trouble, where there was famine, chaos, and foreign invasion that literally almost removed Russia from the map, okay? And multiple people back then really were convinced that if Ivan hadn't mistakenly or accidentally killed his other son, Ivanovich, he would have been a strong and competent ruler, and he would have prevented turmoil from happening in Russia. I mean, the people just believed that he would have been, a great ruler. And I'm pretty sure Ivan believed so too, because I don't know if you remember, but I mentioned that after he died, after Ivan's son died, or after Ivan mistakenly murdered his son, he fell into depression, not just because his son was dead, but because he felt like Russia's future was over. Like there was no future for Russia. It's over. And he was right. I mean, Russia did go through a tough time after Ivan died. Well, my history friends, this is the end of the story of Ivan the Great. The Terrible. Girl, before I end this video, I did want to ask you a couple questions. Do you think he was actually a brilliant ruler who may have just lost control? Or was he just a victim of his childhood? Right? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I love reading your comments and your point of views, and some of you guys actually come up with some really good answers to the questions that make me think and be like, I didn't think about that. So now that we got Ivan the Terrible over with, let me tell you what we're talking about next week. In one of my past videos, which was about Elizabeth Bathory, I saw this comment from this lovely person, Leah Hodge. I don't know if I'm saying it right. She asked if we could cover Margaret of Anjou, to which I said, you know what? Hell yeah. So, next week, we will be talking about Margaret of Anjou. And let me tell you, drama, scandal, drama, murder, betrayal. It's crazy, okay? I personally think she was a badass queen, but some people view her as an evil person, so I guess we will find out next week. Now, if you've reached to the end of this video, I just wanted to say thank you so much for staying with me and learning about the story of Ivan the Terrible. I just wanted to go ahead and wish you a happy week. Stay safe out there. Bye.